When you sit down to respond to a writing prompt, is it hard to pinpoint exactly what you want to write about? How easy is it to feel like you're drowning in a vast sea of possibilities even before you've started to write your first sentence? Today, my goal is to give you some survival tips so that you can always stay afloat in that ocean that is the essay. As you take more AP classes, you'll encounter more complex prompts. Sometimes the most difficult step is knowing how to focus your response based on what the prompt is asking. And out of the dozens of prompts you'll encounter throughout the year, you'll be expected to accurately deconstruct all of them, even before putting pen to paper or fingers to keyboard. To deconstruct the prompt, you only need to remember one word: RAFTS. RAFTS is a mnemonic device developed decades ago by Dr. Carol Santa. Not that Santa, no relation. Mnemonic devices are like shortcuts for our brains to remember really important information in condensed ways. For example, never eat soggy waffles. While in my opinion, soggy waffles aren't half bad, the phrase is also a great way to remember your compass directions. Going clockwise, you have north, east, south, and west. If you could think of other mnemonic devices, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Now, in the case of RAFTS, it's also an acronym, so each letter in the word represents a different concept. If you're one of my pre-AP students, a RAFTS resource can be found in Google Classroom. As you work through this video and the next, complete that graphic organizer for RAFTS based on our most recently assigned prompt. Pause and rewatch the videos as needed for each element of RAFTS. Now let's build it. First of all, R is for role. Which role do you take as the writer? Sometimes it's a simulated or projected role, like a lawyer or a character from a novel you might be reading, which would be really great for a creative writing assignment. Often your role is simply you, but is it that conversational you who talks to your friends? Is it you, the texter? Is it you, the scholar? Part of being a great writer is having many hats that you could put on as the occasion calls for different kinds of writing. A is for audience. Who is your audience going to be? Yes, of course, somewhere in there is going to be your teacher, but is there another target audience implied by the prompt or by the topic itself? Now, your audience and your role will inform one another. So once you have a better grasp of both of these, then you're going to have a clearer picture of what your purpose of writing is. Is it to persuade? Is it to compare? Is it to explain something or even to entertain? Those are the kinds of questions you need to ask yourself once you have your audience and your role pinned down to help you determine your purpose. F is for format. Which type of writing do you need to produce? What's it going to look like? What's the structure? In a pre-AP or AP course, you could write anything from articles to speeches to scripts, both fiction and nonfiction, prose and poetry. If it's an essay, which it's going to be a lot of the time, you need to ask, what type of essay am I writing? We have many types: rhetorical analysis, literary analysis, compare contrast, or maybe it's a narrative, like a story that you tell. Or if you take AP history, you might be used to learning about the DPQ, which is another type of format you could write. The prompt might not always make this format clear, so you have to kind of glean some of the clues in the prompt to better help you determine what your format response will be. T is for task. What are your tasks as writer? For a pre-AP or AP prompt, chances are you will be asked to do multiple tasks in a prompt, and it could get pretty complex. This almost always includes write a well-organized essay somewhere in the prompt. So it's worth your time to note all of the directive verbs used throughout the prompt. Think of this as your checklist. You could certainly rewrite your prompt this way as almost a list of operations. Or if you are in a timed writing situation, try to still underline and maybe even number some of those tasks so you can go through that and review it after you write your essay to make sure you've answered the whole prompt. If you've completed them, then and only then have you answered the prompt. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for. S is for strong keywords. What are the keywords used in the prompt that you should reference in your response, or better yet, maybe even the thesis statement? On your prompt, make these buzzwords really pop by maybe annotating them with a star above them or even a highlight. Now, don't go highlighting the entire prompt. That's not what I'm saying. Just put a little star or highlight just a few words that really indicate the topic or the theme or even the thinking skill that you'll be applying to your response. The reality is, in order to most effectively deconstruct the prompt, you're going to have to revisit it many times throughout the writing process. Upon your first read-through, it's wise to circle any challenging words so that you can clarify their meaning. Also, as you make annotations and close read the prompt itself, some writers find that striking through unimportant or even redundant phrases helps them to keep their focus on the key tasks. You can be the most brilliant writer, but if you don't understand what the prompt asks, then you're going to be disconnected from the task and lose your audience no matter what. Now that you have RAFTS as a lifeline to start with, tune into the next video as we chart a clear course to Thesisville. Keep on building.